Hi guys, welcome back to It Is What It Is. Hello, welcome back to It Is What It Is with Van. I'm Van and I'm also unwell, I guess. Hi, this is the very last podcast I am ever going to film while in my 20s. So that's terrifying. I was really tired. I still have the Bell's palsy. If you notice that half my face is still a little bit wonky. We're on the up and up. The eye blinking is still delayed, all these things, but the biggest thing is it makes me so tired, and I'm tired. I don't really want to record a podcast right now. And I was like, wait, it's now or never, because I really wanted to record this episode all about things that I've learned in my 20s and lessons and what have you, because that is how this podcast all started, is all things messy 20s. And now that I'm not that anymore, identity crisis, but I was, if I want this to be all things I've learned in my 20s while I'm still 20, kind of got to do that literally today, because the next chance I'll be 30. Welcome. Maybe that's why I can't speak correctly, because I am very tired, but I want to get this shit done. Monumental moment. Last time I'm in my 20s on camera. I am acting as if the next time you see me will be something crazy, but you get any other sentimental person, you get this. Everything is something. Yeah, Virgo season, baby. I am a Virgo. September 1st. I made a lot of notes on just little pinpoints, and I have us going through a story, right? I have an intro, I have the myths versus the reality of your 20s, I have lessons all broken up into themes, but it's just pinpoints. I haven't written down any stories, and I don't know what I'm going to say. It's more so just little prompts that I feel will maybe guide me in the right direction, because I just wanted to come on here and be authentic to what I'm feeling, and I didn't want to necessarily have a drawn out thing. But we're recording this, we have no makeup on, I just got out of the shower, and I didn't want to get all dolled up. I didn't want to put on some fake energy. I'm tired, I'm going through it, we're recovering from Bell's palsy, life is still a mess, and that is the whole point of this podcast. Not the highlight reels of our 20s, although there's still that. But let's get to the nitty gritty of what this all is. So, I don't know, guys. This is going to be a journey for both of us. I have an appointment in an hour and a half, so let's see what we get through. But buckle up. This is going to be a roller coaster. I can't even tell you what to expect other than the little outline that I have, but let's see the things that I learned in my 20s, as I will be 30 in 4 days. 20s was absolutely insane, and I truly do not think no one prepares you for your 20s. It is actually the most insane thing. You get out of college or high school, community, whatever, and then you're just an adult with no sense of direction, they need to prepare you for your 20s way more. But anyways, 20s is just a fucking roller coaster, and we'll get into that. But before all that, I wanted to reflect on, I guess, how I'm feeling about turning 30. People always say when you're 29, that is the year that you never say you're 29. You spend that whole year just going, oh, I'm pretty much 30. And it's just so funny that is so true. I find even friends that are 27, 28, they're like, I'm almost 30. We start to get to the end of our 20s and we just nix it as if it's nothing. But 29, I still learned so fucking much. And honestly, this has been 29 has probably been the craziest year, just reflecting on all the things that have happened. I traveled to Europe when I turned 29. I got cheated on when I was 29. I moved into my own apartment when I was 29. Finally have my own place. I moved to Long Beach. I moved out of LA. I got the highest paying job that I've gotten as far as a salary, 9 to 5. I worked on sets the most that I've ever worked and gotten paid the highest I've ever gotten paid. Also was at my absolute lowest point at 29, where I couldn't get a job for the longest time. I was trying to survive off of a part-time job. I was on food stamps. I lost insurance. I lost friends. I stopped talking to the man that I loved after I had been cheated on, and randomly one night met the man that I had that heartbreak, which was the craziest, saddest heartbreak I had ever been, which was so crazy because I only knew him for such a short amount of time. I hit my lowest point to where my mental breakdown and not wanting to be alive anymore, my mom flying in to save me and me going back home for weeks. Just so that has literally all happened within 2025, let alone since last September. So it is actually so crazy to me all that has happened when I was 29, and how I also have fallen victim to just being like, I'm pretty much 30. Anytime someone asks me my age, I'm 30. I'm gonna be 30 in a couple months. Anyways, I guess that is all to say for 30 before we backtrack and talk all things 20. Looking forward of how I'm feeling about 30 is I'm feeling very hopeful. The last 2 months of me being 29, you know, I got Bell's palsy, was in the emergency room, all these things. I am just hoping and praying that I have nixed out every bad thing that could possibly happen, not only in my 29th year on this earth, but in my 20s. That little clip of Spark Notes that I just told you of all things that have happened when I was 29, there's obviously so many more things within that. So it's just, Lord, please let me have learned all the lessons I needed to learn in my 20s, let alone on my 29th year. And I feel I have. So looking at 30, I am just really I'm looking forward. I'm excited. I'm hoping that is when the new leaf turns and things just get better and better. Because wow, have my 20s been fucking something. Especially 29. Jeez. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. But honestly, everything that I got put through my 20s and when I was 29, I'm set for 30. I am ready for the up and up. And I feel it's time for a new chapter. So anyways, since I have started this podcast, it has always been about all things messy 20s. I felt, of course, it was needed and very necessary to sit here on my last couple of days of being in my 20s and reflect and kind of go through it. So anyone else in their 20s that is feeling very lost or unseen or what have you, or even anyone else that you've experienced your 20s already, and a little reflection of, yeah, damn that shit, but we fucking got through it. Or you can tell me, does it get better? Does it get worse? I don't know. I hope it does not get worse than this. Let's sit down, let's go through it all, and let's just start at the beginning, I guess, of said 20s. Now I need to put my glasses on because, guys, I'm 30. I can't see. I've been blind since birth. Okay. I keep taking my glasses on and off because then I realize when I'm looking at you guys, it's going to be a reflection of the lights and everything. But then I'm trying to look at my notes and I can't fucking see. Okay, I guess like this first little part. Sorry guys, I'm a Virgo. I'm organized. I had to have it sectioned off. Beginning, middle, end. You know? So we're going to go in sections, okay? So the first little section I thought of was myths versus reality of 20s. I feel everyone says the 20s is the best time of your life. Just most people say high school is the best time of your life. And it's just you peaked during that time. That was actually horrible. That is how I feel about the 20s. Everyone said that they were going to be amazing, and no, you're just broke and sad and going through heartbreak and so lost and trying to find your identity and trying to figure out what you want to do with your life and trying to figure out what path is the right path. Depending where you grew up, where I grew up, everyone marries their high school sweetheart, and let's start there. The very first thing when I'm reflecting about my 20s is I thought by 25 I was going to be married, or at least engaged. By 26, married, and by 27, have a kid or two. What? Which, mind you, I grew up in Arizona. I grew up in an area of Arizona where that was very much the norm. There's a reason why I thought that, you know what I mean? And even now, a lot of people I went to high school with, a lot of people I graduated with, a lot of people that are my age back home, they are on their second or third kid. They are married to the person they met when they were 20. I am the outcaster. And it's so funny because that was genuinely my train of thought. And I had a boyfriend at the time when I was 20. Marrying that man, you're joking. You are joking. That would have actually been the worst life ever. I would have just got screamed at every single day. It's so funny because I think even back then, I was not actually thinking, oh, that's the man I'm going to marry. I was just thinking, oh, well, somehow, some way, I'm going to be married by 25. Let it be known, I moved out to LA when I was 24. And then I was, oh my God, we broke up, whatever. I moved out here. I did not know a soul, and it was so scary. And that is another thing in your 20s that I think everyone should do is move from your hometown, just move. Doesn't have to be dramatic. Move from your fucking circle that you have been around, because it challenges you. It makes you grow in so many ways that I also could not have imagined. When I moved to LA, I also under this myth and magical thing. I'm gonna meet the man I'm gonna marry here in the next year, and we're gonna somehow get married. It is just so funny to look back and think that that is genuinely how I thought. And then I moved to LA, and if you know anything about LA, no man is actually fully developed till at least 30 here. I don't know, it's something in the water, it's something in the Erewhon smoothies. No boy is at that capacity. Their frontal lobes actually do not fully develop at 26. The frontal lobes develop at 30. And then that's when they kind of are, oh, they want to learn how to cook chicken and stuff instead of chicken nuggets. So I quickly realized that when I moved to LA, and that whole myth of me getting married at 25 is, yeah, that's going to stay in my imagination, because that's not happening. Yeah, that was just the biggest thing of, I look back now and I just think it's so hilarious that I thought I was going to be married, have a house, thought I was going to have a house, kids, all this shit by 28 absolute latest. And if not, I failed. Another hilarious thing and time frame that I put on myself when I moved to LA was, if I did not make it by 28, to give up. To just give up. I told my family that. I told my grandparents that. I told my grandparents that to the point where they still question me. They're like, I thought you were going to move back home once you turned 28. You haven't made it yet. Yeah, about that. Also, a pandemic happened, and then as far as the acting in that whole industry, then a strike happened. So you know what? I'm giving myself some extra years. I don't know why we put so many time frames on ourselves in our 20s. If we don't make it by this, then give up. I mean, I guess in the entertainment industry, that is very normal. All right, once you hit 30, you're no longer good in this industry. Go. For whatever reason, for men, the older you get, the sexier and cooler and more mod. Again, don't get me started on that. But it's, you're 30, definitely can't be a fucking model anymore. That's cute that you tried. And acting, yeah. I mean, you can only go for the mom roles now. So it's just, that was also a big thing that I was, okay, if I haven't made it by 28, I'm never going to make it, and throw in the towel, figure out a new life path. Clearly still trying, so there's that. That is kind of what I thought my 20s was going to look versus what actually happened, which is, sorry to report, still have not made it in the acting and modeling industry. Still also have to work a full-time job on top of it. Not married. Do not have kids. Do not have a house. But I did finally just move into my own studio apartment at 29. So that is a huge accomplishment. But it's so far off from what I thought 29 would look. I also thought I would have boobs by now. Also did not happen. I still have the same body I've had since I was 17. And in my head, in my 20s, each year I would just get more curvy and look a woman and look so mature. I look a child. Not a child, but I do not look, oh, I'm a hot, sexy woman. So I thought that would happen by now. I thought I would get some big old knockers, curvy, sexy, bootylicious. No. I lost 15 pounds from severe anxiety and depression that I can't seem to gain back. And I feel a little unhealthy stick in the wind. So that's the reality of where we're at. I'm hoping I can gain some weight back once I finally heal from Bell's palsy and can work out and everything like that and gain muscle. But that was also something that I thought I would have by now. Boobs. Where the fuck are those? I thought I'd have some knockers. I thought I'd have a ring on my finger. And I thought I'd be walking around with 2 kids on my way to the set to go film my Netflix series. That is what I thought my 20s was going to be. I'm thinking maybe that's what the 30s will be, you know? But that is what I thought versus where we're at. I have on here, was there any big surprises about adulthood? Yeah, I think all of it. I think everything in adulthood was a surprise to me. I moved out to live on my own to California from a small, little, very conservative kind of area in Arizona. And out here, moved to Hollywood. It was so polar opposite. I went to school with a bunch of Mormons. It was just so different and so exciting. I feel every single part of adulthood was a surprise to me. And that's what I'm saying. It's just not talked about enough. Fucking credit card debt, that was a surprise to me. I did not realize interest of how much that adds up. That was never anything in school. I got a credit card out here, and boy, oh boy, am I now paying that off. I also dealt with the pandemic 6 months into me moving on my own. So that was also just a whole different thing, lost my job. But I think just top stuff that comes to my mind when I think of surprises as being an adult and being an adult in a new place, that place being Hollywood. Obviously money and how to be smart with your money, how to try and save money and pay bills during a pandemic when you lose all your jobs. Obviously, no one was fucking prepared for that at whatever age you are, but that was a fun little tidbit that got thrown in at me. I think mental health, that was a huge surprise to me of how up and down it can be. Physical health, my period, it's just so many things were a surprise. I don't think any of it was expected. And heartbreaks during your 20s and how huge they feel, and then even just a couple months or a year goes by and you're like, oh my god, no, that would have been horrible if I married that person, or what was I thinking that I wanted that person to be my life partner. Yeah, so there was a lot of surprises. There's so many surprises in adulthood that no one prepares you for. So I think literally everything was a surprise to me. I think also the biggest thing is that no one has it figured out in their 20s. Absolutely not one person. I can fucking promise you. I don't care how much they seem they have it together. No one in life has it all together or has it all figured out, but definitely 20s. And I think comparison was the thief of joy for so many years in my 20s, of just comparing myself to people that have had more success in California than me, people that also moved from the same town of Arizona and came out here, and they have Netflix series and they have this and they have that. Just comparing, and social media was definitely such a big thief of joy for me in my 20s. And that is something I've really learned, and also why I try to just post what I want to post, log the fuck off. At least on Instagram, that shit is so toxic. For me, it was toxic for me. Okay, and now I kind of want to go into different chapters of life: mental health, career, friendship, because I feel they all are their own world. And I have here for mental health, the first thing I wrote is mental health isn't optional. I think for so long I didn't realize what I had was anxiety. I just thought I thought everyone literally woke up every single day and was already scared, or already, now what I know is anxious or stressed or questioning where and how the day would go wrong. I genuinely thought that was normal, and it wasn't until I moved out here that I realized what I had was anxiety. And being in therapy, I started therapy when I was 21. But yeah, I think I ignored it for so long, or I just wasn't aware of what it was, because I didn't even know what to search on Google to say, hey, I feel this way. So I think I was about 21, 22 when I started therapy. And then honestly, it wasn't until I moved out and I was on my own that I realized, oh, I didn't have any distractions. You know what I mean? I didn't have my friends or my dad or my mom or whoever around me 24/7. And I was like, oh, anxiety and depression, it can't just be ignored. That's when I went downhill. I went downhill pretty fast. You kicked me down a hill and I was rolling once I realized that. And I think then the pandemic hit, and obviously so many people went into depression and everything that, but that hole is where it just got really, really dark for me. And I was 24 at the time, and so many things had gone wrong in my life at that time. And I kind of felt I was losing everything that I had worked so hard for to get myself to LA. You know what I mean? I had spent years saving up, got out of college so that I could save up and come to LA, and that was a huge risk. I moved myself out here. I paid for it all. No one helped me. I had done so much to get myself out here, and then I was out here for a couple months and the pandemic hit. And, I had booked a TV series and a movie, both lost their funding. I didn't have any job. I came out here doing acting and modeling full time. It was going really well, and I was being successful in it enough to only do that. I didn't have any other job, which it's so funny because now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I did not realize how lucky I was. I want to get back to the place where I could just do acting and modeling full time again. Of course, now feeling, oh, you're too old to do that because you're 30. But yeah, I think that is where the depression and the anxiety took a completely different turn. And I got so depressed. That's when I adopted my dog. I think that is also a huge thing in your 20s. Once you get your own animal, that changed my life. That saved my life. I literally have her tattooed on me. That was probably the biggest thing when I look back at my 20s of something that changed me and changed me for the better and just changed my life, was getting Olive. Definitely my soul dog. She is now going to be 8. Can't even think about that. But yeah, I think that's kind of when I really realized that I couldn't ignore what was going on mentally anymore. And I think the biggest thing that helped me was, one, acknowledging that, accepting it and then being, okay, what do I have to do to get out of this? Because when I moved out of Arizona, I obviously, or not obvious, but I stopped going to my therapist. You know, she couldn't practice in the state of California. I was doing it in person. Little while that I was in California, I didn't have anything like that. And I also was figuring out new insurance, whatever, all these other things. But once I had realized that and depression, I was, okay, I'm the only person that can get me out of this hole. That was another huge thing I learned in my 20s, is no one is going to pick you up other than you. Some people will care and some people will try, but at the end of the day, all you have to rely on is yourself. And I found a new therapist in California and started going, and that is what really helped me. I got medicated, and I was just finally open and honest with a therapist for the first time, because even in Arizona, I don't think I was completely honest about it, because I also was still just trying to figure it out. If you're currently also in that place of feeling you are quote unquote falling behind because your mental health is kind of taking over, I feel I've had a lot of chunks of that, you know, where I couldn't accomplish the things I wanted to accomplish because my mental health was taking such a bad turn. You know, that even happened to me again the beginning of this year in February. I made a whole episode about it. And, you know, I had to go back with my mom and go back home and stay with her for 2 weeks. And of course I felt I was falling behind. I was like, fuck, I can't get it together. And there's so much shit in California I need to be doing. And what I would say to that is, you're not going to ever be able to get to where you want or do the things you want to do if you are not okay. Your mental health, your physical health, everything that, you come first. And you're not going to be able to accomplish any of the things to the degree that you want, at least, if you are not mentally, physically good. And you're just going to burn yourself out. And even if you do get to the place of you accomplishing whatever you want to accomplish, you're going to be so burnt out that you're not even going to be able to reap the rewards. You know what I mean? Never feel you are falling behind because you are putting yourself first. Never feel you're falling behind because you are checking in on you and you are doing what you need to be better for yourself. Because I think that's something so many people, or at least I struggled with, of any time I'm in one of these episodes of depression or anxiety or not being able to do anything, I then just put an extra layer of stress on top of myself, because then I'm not doing what I need to do. And it's just these time frames and these unrealistic goals, or these things that we set on ourselves or society sets on us. It's gotta go. We are just hurting ourselves. And for what? You're not behind. No one is behind. I don't even know who fucking made this rule of where we have to be at what time. Again, you have to focus on you, and that is the only thing that matters. Point blank, period. Anyways, so that's mental health. You gotta check it, and you gotta do the stuff to make yourself better. And I think even now, I've been in therapy for over 8 years now, and you would think I am perfect. I fear I'm not, and I fear right now is when I'm learning the most of all the things I have to change and get better, and all the little self-reflections. And it's one thing to notice and know that you have to fix things. It's a whole other fucking thing to actually fix them, to actually hold yourself accountable. It is a whole other fucking monster. And that's where I'm at right now. It's just literally every day feels so draining to be like, fuck, that's something I overthink. Fuck, that's something I gotta fix. Fuck. And now I gotta fix it, because at the end of the day, the only one that it's gonna keep affecting is me. Obviously my loved ones and who surrounds me, but it affects no one as much as it affects me, because I'm the only one up here all day. I'm the only one in my own head. I'm the only one in my own way. Once you realize that, have a moment of having the hard fucking truth with yourself and realize that you are the only one in your own way, that's when you really fuck, okay, I gotta step up, for purely the fact of showing up for myself. So that's a hard lesson. I'll let you know when I crack the code, though. The next pointer I have for 20s is friendships, and how much friendships will shift. Whoa! Was not expecting that one. That one I feel you hear the most, right? When your parents or, you know, whoever older that has gone through their 20s, when they try and give you advice, right? Friends will come and go. You'll see people have different phases of life. People will get married. 20s is just such a wild ride. Once you start getting to your late 20s, you know, you were always warned of, you'll have some friends that are married and have a house and on their second kid, and you'll have other friends that are still going to the club every night, and then you're gonna have maybe yourself somewhere in between. And I was always like, okay, sure, we're all friends, we're all gonna be in the same wavelength. Fuck that. Fuck no. Oh my god. And even my parents being, there's gonna come a time and you're just gonna start seeing all your friends are getting married or having kids. And I was, no, we're not. no, we're not. We're actually never having kids or getting married. That came after I turned 25 once I realized, oh, there's actually no grown men in LA. And, I just went through like a couple years of, okay, fuck. I was then single for 3 years after after I moved here because that's how much I was like, ew, I'm just going to do me. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have my own little party phase or crazy phase. Also, that's when I was in a crazy deep depression. And I had just come from only ever being in relationships to, oh my God, I'm in Hollywood. Went through a whole drinking phase. Yep, where I would party so much 4 times a week. I was single. My roommate was single. It's just so crazy how many different versions of yourself there is in your 20s. I went from in Arizona. Sorry, this is a tangent, but I also just thought about it, and it's not written down here, of how many versions of yourself you're going to meet in your 20s. Because that was something I was shocked by. Everyone's, oh yeah, you'll change, you'll grow. Yeah, sure. No, but I am a new bitch every single year. It is so funny to think when I was living in Arizona, so let's say up until 24, I had been in serious relationships, from the time I was 16 till 24, of at least a year, 2 years, whatever, relationships. And then I'd be single for a little bit, and then a new relationship, somehow, some way. Waited until I was with a person that I loved and to do the deed, you know what I mean? And I never drank until my literal 21st birthday, which my 21st birthday was in downtown Gilbert at a restaurant with 2 friends. I had one singular drink that they surprised me with because I didn't even want to order my own drink on my 21st birthday. Did not want alcohol. Didn't even finish that drink and was drunk out of my mind. Did not even go out and party, did not go and dance. Literally, they drove me home and I got in trouble by my dad because I was drunk. That is the person I was in my early 20s. So strict, so sheltered, lived with my parents. My parents were also going through a divorce at that time. I was being there for them, I was being an adult in that time frame that you would think that you would be crazy. That was my world, and I had my friends that I grew up with, and doing that, I was in a relationship with a guy that was 6 years older than me, and an engineer, and had his life together, and it was also making me feel like I have to have my life together, you know what I mean? And then I moved out here at 24, realized what it was to be an adult and be on your own and be, oh my God, this is the dating scene? To go from Arizona dating scene to that dating scene of LA. I was in Hollywood, North Hollywood, and I was just, what the fuck? Going through identity crisis, going through who I was as far as what do I even men, do I women? Finding my sexual identity because that had been so pushed on me living in Arizona of, I don't know, that whole world was just never even something, it's so much shame around it. And so it's exploring that and figuring that out. And then being in this really weird depression, being in this really weird phase of, I hate men, so I'm gonna just use them to my advantage. And fuck you. I just became so different. I went from never drinking to having one drink on my 21st to taking 8 shots a night and drinking crazy and going out on a Wednesday and then going out on a Thursday and then going out on a Friday and then going out on a Saturday, going to all these different parties and bars and clubs. And this was after the pandemic, obviously. So I think that too is just built up of, I had never experienced any of that before living in Arizona. I did not, obviously, going out in Gilbert versus going out in Hollywood are 2 completely different situations. But it just, for those couple years of being single for the first time in my adult life and being single out here and drinking for the first time and being crazy and being that, also my crazy wasn't even crazy. I wasn't fucking doing drugs or anything. Crazy to me was the fact that I was drinking and going out and not being in a serious relationship and just doing whatever and living my life. That was my idea of crazy. But you know what I mean? Just meeting so many people and staying out till crazy. It was just, and now I look back and I'm, who was that? And then, going from that, when I was obviously also just so unhappy and so unsure and didn't know what I was doing with my life, and then meeting my ex and being so against a relationship. I did not want to date anyone, let alone a man. The next person I date or get in a relationship with is going to be a woman. God forbid it is a man. And I remember meeting him and I was absolutely fucking up. I told this man no so many times. And then I gave him a chance, told him no again. I remember we went out to a bar and he was like, would you be my girlfriend? And I literally was like, no. I literally was, can I go kiss that girl? I was such a bitch. Hey, I'm honest. And it's just, I look at that, and then we ended up dating for 2 years. We moved in together. That was another experience. I never lived with a partner before. That was a whole other fucking thing that I was not expecting of adulthood and a new version of myself. I got so ugly in that relationship. I've actually never been uglier. And I was like, that shows you that you are not with the right person. So also realizing how much you change when you're with the wrong person, how much you change physically, mentally. I think throughout everything in my life, though, I've always had a good friend group, and I've had the same friend group. But even now, 29, it's noticing that is shifting and those are going away. But I was with him from 26, 27, or 26 to 28. I don't know, somewhere around that pocket. It was kind of weird. I think I was just about to turn 27 and was 28 when we broke up. I don't know. Anyways, in that pocket of that age range, so mid to later 20s when that was happening, and learned so much from that, changed so much in that relationship, from the person he had met me when we started dating versus the person that I was at the end of it, night and day. And even that relationship get ended because there's, fell out of love. It happens. You know what I mean? It was just so, that's the whole other thing. But so then who I am now, it's just so, everything is so polar opposite. So polar opposite. It's so crazy to me how many versions of yourself you will meet in your 20s. I think that is a huge thing they don't prepare you for. I am sweating whore in church right now. Hold on. Y'all, it is so hot in my apartment. My apartment does not have AC. Oh, I live by the beach. It'll be fine. No, it's not. The breeze does not reach me. Anyways, now that we're done with that tangent, that's something I would say to be prepared for, is just be grace, give yourself grace, and know that you are going to be so many different people in your 20s, and you are going to meet so many versions of yourself. But that is good, and that is a beautiful thing, and that if you're not changing and evolving and meeting all these new versions of yourself and meeting them all without judgment, meeting them with love and grace, obviously, if you're doing crazy things and being a horrible person, then do not greet them with grace and love. But knowing that you're going to be different and knowing that you're going to change, and if you are, then you're doing it right. That is what life is all about. And just accepting that and knowing that. Anyways, I was supposed to be talking about friendships will shift and friendships will change, and that is something that everyone always warns you about, and I just did not believe it. I thought the best friend I had when I was in my early 20s, maybe 26, 27 is when we stopped being friends, but I had been best friends with her since 2021. I thought that was going to be the person that I was buried next to in the grave, and that was such a hard pill to swallow and thing to realize, that we were just different people. Things that we valued in friendships weren't going to be aligned, and that is okay. And that was a very hard thing to accept, and that some friendships are going to get stronger while others are going to fold. That is just the hard truth of it. It is, again, you are becoming so many versions of yourself, so you are going to have so many different chapters with friendships as well. Obviously, the friends that I met and made in the phase of 24 to 26 were not going to be the friends that were going to be the same friends I have now when I met them in that phase. You know what I mean? It's just, I feel with friendships and them shifting in your 20s, that is where you really learn about boundaries and expectations and how to let things go, how to let people go, or cutting it off, or not getting too attached and just enjoying it for what you have it for. And knowing, and I think this is something I'm even struggling with now, but just knowing that friendships are also going to go through phases. And I think a big thing when we're in our 20s and people start to get in relationships or more serious relationships, that changes the friendship, and not taking things personally and knowing that we're all going to be in different levels and different chapters in life. And it's beautiful to be able to have the friendships evolve with it, but know it won't also always evolve. Another big thing I've learned is, which I was not expecting again, is just political things. I think obviously Trump. I thought a lot of my friends had the same values as me, and I was never a political person before Trump, because I feel we've never seen something that him. And so once that started to be a thing and I started to voice stuff, you know, as a human that has basic thinking skills. I don't really know. There's no way to make it sound, and I don't care to make it sound nice, but it's just it doesn't take much to just have basic knowledge and basic human decency. And so I think once I started speaking up about some of the stuff and going against Trump, weirdly started losing a lot of friends, all from Arizona, of course. But so stuff that I just also wasn't expecting. You know what I mean? You think that you have the same values, and a lot of them, I mean, we do, which is the funny thing. You're voting against your own rights as a woman, and it's just whatever. That can be a whole other episode, but we always had the same viewpoints. But then when it came to that, for some reason, it's accepting that of friendships of 8 years going down the drain because of things that, and mind you, it's them cutting the cord because I was the crazy one. I'm more so of a person of, I want to get your understanding. I want us to talk it out, so that I don't think fighting is going to be the answer. I want to know why you view that, and then that way we can hopefully talk it out and you can change your opinion and then, not vote for him. But that is not how that went with people in Arizona. So it's just also that losing friends to that was something I was not prepared for or thinking of, because it's just, we've always had the same values. We've had the same morals. What do you mean you're now going against all of them? It makes absolutely no sense. Just accepting it and not taking it personal. I think for a long time, anytime I lost a friend or we then became different people, I would take it so personally that, oh, I'm a bad friend. I can't keep so-and-so around, or I can't keep a friend of X amount of years around, when it's, because it's over stuff that, or them being a shitty friend, or you just change and you become different people, and you can't take it all personal. Obviously, unless you're actively doing stuff and you can't keep any friends ever in your life, then let's maybe look within. But I feel a lot of the friends that I've made out here, I've had the whole time. I've had the same core friends that I've met once I became my true authentic self, and they allowed the room, they allowed room for me to grow and change. And those are, I think, the most beautiful friendships that you can see different versions of each other. Friendships, they're gonna come and they're gonna go, and they're going to be the friendships that you thought would be a lifetime. That was, so yeah, sure, this little friend and that little friend, of course, friends come and go, but my best friend of 8 years, no, that's never going to change. What do you mean? We are sisters. And it's, oh, fuck, wait, you meant I was gonna lose that one? Okay, was not prepared for that. But I think that one was harder than a fucking breakup. But that's a big thing in your 20s. That is a big thing. The other thing I have for the next little chapter is careers, and how careers are not linear. And, I came out here for the career of acting and modeling, thinking that that was going to be the only thing I was going to be lucky enough to focus on the whole time. And it was for a little bit. And then obviously everything happened and stuff was lost. And that was a whole awakening of, wait, I have to figure out something else. But then I also still have to have this dream that I'm following. And that is such a big thing that no one prepares you for in life, is balancing having the job that you need to pay your bills while also trying to pursue your dream that, you would obviously also love to have what pays your bills, but the balance of both of those and how to not completely drain yourself from doing one or the other. You know what I mean? Especially with acting, it's okay when I would book something. Okay, well, shit, I gotta be gone for a week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever. Oh, well, fuck, now you work a real night. It just, the balancing act, clearly that's a huge thing that caused my Bell's palsy, was the stress between all of it. It's just so difficult, and no one prepares you for that. I don't even know how to say to be prepared for that, because that is something I'm still trying to figure out and balance myself. I also don't think I was prepared for the amount of low points I was going to have while trying to chase my career and my dream. It's just so crazy. I never thought I would walk into a good salary paying job and just quit on my lunch break. I did that when I was 29. And I thought, oh, if you do something bold and if you do something courageous and you take a risk and you jump, that net is going to catch you. A net didn't catch me. Sorry to say it, a net did not catch me. I figured it out and made it work, but it was not, oh, I did something so bold and another door opened and it was amazing, which is what I thought was going to happen. I thought, you know what, I finally had enough, I gave it my all, I'm leaving this job, it's not meant for me, and a better amazing opportunity is going to come. It didn't. I could not find another job. I was part-time. I was on food stamps. I ran through my savings, was so depressed. I was so anxious. I also then wasn't booking anything acting and modeling wise. And I think that's the reality of it. Yes, eventually months later, I got a job. I got a new full-time job. And yes, eventually it led to better things. And, now I can live, and I moved from LA to Long Beach, and I live next to the beach, and I live on my own. But it was not immediate, and it was not, oh, I was rewarded. I then had tenfold the amount of stress and lost money and this and that and had a crisis and all of this shit. And I think also in our 20s we're just, and I don't regret it. I think that is what you should be doing in your 20s, is you should be bold, you should be taking the leaps, you should be doing that shit. But I think everyone makes it as if, oh, and then something better will just come. Okay. And it did not. It was 6 months of nothing catching me again but myself, and making it somehow work until I literally was on my last, okay, this is going to be the last time I can pay rent before I have to move back home. That is when I got the call, hey, here's a job offer. And, then other stuff started panning out. But then again, look at where that is now. That job was so stressful to me that half my fucking face got paralyzed. So I think it's just things that I was not prepared for at all. And you think, okay, I've hit rock bottom, it can't get any worse. And then you realize that someone was there shoveling below you, and it actually could get lower, and it could get worse. And the amount of times that I thought I hit rock bottom, career-wise, money-wise, it was not. Even up until a couple months ago, okay, I got through that hell of that risk that I thought was going to pay off. You know what? I found a new stable job. I'm doing my acting. I have my own place. We're finally on the up and up. No, that job was even harder than what I had before. The job was even this, the job was that. Woke up one day with half my face paralyzed. It just kept getting lower and lower. Yeah, was not prepared for that. The amount of times I also was, I'm quitting acting. And then you get just one little inkling or one audition or one this, and you're like, I'm going to stay. And I just was not prepared for that roller coaster at all. When I've been doing acting and modeling since I was 4 years old. And I've had a lot of lows. I went to New York as a kid. I came out to LA every pilot season. This has been my life for my whole life of just trying and not ever having my break. And I thought once I came out here, I was just going to be more and more consistent. And I feel ever since moving to LA, I have never done it less. And haven't done any dream projects and haven't done any this and haven't done any that. And it's just, I was not prepared for how much I was going to have to push myself to keep wanting to do something, and how much I was going to question if I wanted it. And anytime I would question it and think that it would be something, I needed a whole other episode on just career and following your dreams and, entertainment industry. But yeah, just there was so many moments just within acting and modeling or a 9 to 5 that I think in our 20s we are kind of presented of, okay, pick your path, and then you're going to be on that path for the rest of your life, and you're going to have to love it. And if you didn't, then you made a mistake, but you have to stay there. And I was doing all that while being, I don't even fucking want a 9 to 5. What the fuck am I doing? And just having it control my life. When I was in that relationship where we lived together, that's what I mean. I just completely changed. I just became this, had my job, completely forgot and lost track of why I was even in LA. I was just in a simulation of just going to work, doing this job, having this office job. And it was just, who the fuck and what? Yeah, we get so wrapped up in that, and so wrapped up in the corporate world, and then climbing the ladder and wanting to make more money. And once you finally do get that salary job, wow, this is what it's to feel. You can live comfortably. All I've ever done before this is be a barista or be this or live off of tips and hope I get an acting gig in between. It's just, we are so built to think that the career is everything. And I think as I get older and older, bitch, I just want to fucking see the world and move out of America. That is the American dream for me, to leave America. Get me the fuck out of here. I don't want to hustle. I don't want to climb the corporate ladder. I want my money to actually have me live the life I want to live, not be able to just pay my bills so that I can survive. That has been the biggest switch for me in my 20s with careers and 9 to 5s. I'll leave it at that because I can yap forever. Also, a huge thing I learned in my 20s is relationships aren't everything as far as romantic relationships. They are not the end all be all. Sorry, they're not. I look at the people that I dated before, or I guess the ones prior to this in my 20s, which there were 2 relationships. One when I was early 20s, the 20 to 24, whatever, or 21 to 24, and then the one where I was 27, 28. One, those were night and day, but also just, it's so funny. I mean, again, obviously when you're going through any breakup, you think it is the end of your world, it's the end of that world, but fucking thank God. And I think just realizing and coming to peace after each of those, and after my last breakup especially, of just being, dog, you are good. In your 20s, after each heartbreak or whatever, you start to realize more and more, especially after like, getting something better after it. Whatever is meant for me truly will never leave me. It's, how do I say this word? It doesn't sound insensitive, but I'm only saying it because I'm saying it to myself because I went through it. They're just not it. It's just not over a man. I think that's the point I got to. Okay, I say this shit, but then I was still even freaking out at 29. I remember my therapist telling me over someone, I couldn't even tell you who, but she was, you feel this so deeply right now and it is never going to end and it hurts you so bad and it's this huge deal. I can promise you in a year, you're not even going to be able to remember how you feel right now. And I was like, damn. And it's true. Years now, I don't even, who I was crying about, I couldn't even tell you what I was crying about. I mean, I guess me and this person had ended, but, and you realize that is the beauty. In your 20s, you realize, like, oh shit. As you go from heartbreak to whatever, and you get over them, you realize, like, oh fuck, okay. I dead ass did not, I have been on the kitchen floor crying. When I was with my ex, we still had to live together for months and we worked together. That shit was not fun, trying to go through a breakup and then you see them at work and then you see them when you get home. Bitch, trust me, I fucking get it. I was in the ringer. I had no escape. And the beginning, the first couple months of your breakup, that is when it's the most brutal. And that is when I was seeing the man literally every day of my life. I remember I'd be crying in the kitchen and then he'd walk in and I'd be like, oh fuck. Which it's, even then, I remember I'm not even sad because we're breaking up. We're so clearly not a mesh. I think it was again just being sad of like, fuck, I got it wrong again, and fuck, I gotta start over, and fuck. And it was also, I mean, it's just still sad that chapter is still ending and our lives were so involved. We had a dog together, we had a place together, we worked together, so that was a whole other thing. But I think even after getting over that, it was just, you really just have to tell yourself and know that it is only opening up for something better and for you to find yourself and finding the beauty in heartbreaks. When you are going through a heartbreak, for women, that is when you level the fuck up. It is so, I hate them, but I love them because nothing will make you be the bad bitch that you are. A fucking breakup. That is what I learned in my 20s. After each breakup, I became the best fucking version of myself. So it's, if you're going through that, honestly, fuck yeah, I'm gonna become that bitch. Because you will. The women get hotter, the men get even uglier and they bald. So that's what happens. And that is where I learned a huge lesson of self-love, self-growth. And again, the whole no one has your back you was definitely through my heartbreaks in my 20s. That I genuinely actually learned the most about myself. And that when I reflect, I'm the most grateful for those times. And when you get closest to your friends and when you build really deep relationships with girlfriends or with yourself, and it's a riveting time to go through heartbreak in your 20s. It really is. It shapes you so fucking much, and I'm honestly so grateful for every single one of them. Truly accepted and learned in my 20s. If something is meant to be, it's going to be. No matter, you're not going to control the outcome, and if someone leaves your life, they were never meant to be in it, and you're never going to lose something that is meant for you. And I think just telling myself through every breakup or through every whatever of, oh, I thought this was gonna happen with this person, really honing in and learning that lesson in my 20s is what I got out of that, and truly learning what I need versus what I want. Dating in your 20s or relationships, that is when you fucking figure it out of the person that you want. These are my hard no's, these are my hard yeses, these are my okay. You just are fucking on top of it, and that's what you learn in your 20s. And from dating and from relationships, I know exactly what I want, I know exactly what I don't want, and you're either gonna be it or you're not, and I move the fuck on. That's what I mean though, you just become that girl. You know what you want, you know what you don't want, and that's the whole point of your fucking 20s and dating and being in relationships, and you figure it out. You figure out what you want. That is the beautiful thing. You are figuring out yourself. And even now, I'm figuring out all my own little red flags and the things I need to work on that my past relationships never even brought out of me. But again, I can make a whole fucking episode of that. But that's where you fucking learn self-worth. That's where you fucking learn your boundaries. That's honestly where I learned the most about myself. And I guess the last little theme I would say is just identity and confidence. And it shifts so much in your 20s, and I don't think anyone prepares you. I would have these, when I was in my younger 20s, I was not confident at all. I had no confidence. When I moved out to LA and I feel like I started getting my power back and be, I'm single, I'm gonna date, I got my confidence, then you get ghosted, then you get this, or you lose friends, lose your lose my confidence, and I get in a relationship and I'm the baddest bitch, or I'd make it out of a breakup and be I just got 10 times hotter. Fuck yeah. I don't look good right now. I'm well aware of that. But I'm a confident bitch, so I know I still am. But my God, there was times where people would be like, you're the most confident person I've ever known. And then there'd be other times where people are like, you hate yourself, and I can literally tell. I was not prepared for the fucking waves of that, and self-worth, self-compassion versus self-criticism. You will not find someone any harsher than yourself to yourself. We just do not know how to give ourselves grace, and I feel especially in our 20s. I was my own worst critic. I still am, and that everyone usually is. As I got older, learning how to give myself grace and self-love. And again, no one's got you. So why are you going to be so horrible to yourself? And I get it. I would point out every little flaw, and I point out every little thing. But everyone is already cruel enough to you. The world is cruel enough. You be kind to yourself. Oh my God, if I could I want to punch that into my brain from when I was 20. I think that is a huge thing that I literally didn't realize until 29 is the shift of when you stop living for others and for others' approval. And I think that is what I'm so excited for in my 30s, is to just not give a fuck. I think I've always been pretty good about not giving a fuck about what other people say or think. But then I've always had these little itches deep down, kind of like I was saying earlier. I said if I wasn't successful by 28, I'd move back. That was obviously because of other people's opinions of what success and time frame should look. And, even family members be like, hey, you didn't do it, go home, pack your bags, you're a loser. And I think now just being like, yeah, no, I'm going to keep going, and I don't really care. I feel very much as the outcast in my family and a lot of my everything back home. Just I'm the only one not married, and I am one of the oldest cousins or you know what I mean, anything like that in my family. I'm the only one not married, I'm the only one without kids, and I'm the only one without a house. Obviously that feels fucking shit when I go home. But I think now just being, I am living my life for me. You can judge it, you can be whatever. I'm not going to let it affect me anymore. And I think just stepping into that more in your 30s. But I think that is also such a hard thing to do in your 20s, is when you feel judged by your own people. But the moment that you can click and realize you don't give a fuck and you're living for you is when such a big shift happens. To end off in that little phase of, 222. I have it written here. I said, a moment that you felt the most proud in my 20s. And I think, again, I didn't write any of my answers down. The thing that just pops to my head is me moving. Me moving when I was 24. I am still really proud of myself for doing that because it was really scary. I had lived with my parents the whole time. My parents had just gone through a divorce. That was a whole thing that I was helping them with, and why I stayed in Arizona I stayed to help them and whatever. That's a whole thing. I think I was really proud of myself for picking me, not choosing to finish college. That was a really scary thing to walk away from, again, for fear of disappointing other people. But I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to go to college for fucking business or communications. No. So I got my associates, which I paid for, got that all through my own, was working 3 jobs while in college full time to make sure I could pay it, didn't have to take out any student loans, flew out to Hawaii, got accepted to University of Hawaii, flew back, and I was like, you know what, this is I would love that, and I'm really proud of myself for getting accepted, and I'm really proud of myself for, graduating with top scholars and blah, 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 but I don't want to do that. I'm doing that to make my parents proud and my family proud. They're not paying for it. I'm not going to do that. Then I stayed home, worked multiple jobs, saved up, had that family drama happen, and then chose myself and moved myself out here. And I think I am so proud of myself for that. And yeah, it didn't reward me in the sense of, then I became such a successful actress and a model and life panned out. And that's what I mean. In your 20s, you just think, if I take this leap, I'm going to be rewarded with this grand gesture. And it doesn't always look that. Am I rewarded in the sense that I am living a life that's authentic to me? And I would much rather be struggling in LA or California than struggling in Arizona, not doing something I don't love. Has it been amazing and beautiful in this? No, it hasn't. It's been really hard. It's been really ugly. It's been down fucking bad in every sense of the way. Financially, health-wise. There's still so much I haven't even touched on, which obviously I'm trying to go over 10 years of my life in the span of 1 hour. It rewarded me in the sense of who I've become, the people I've met, the friends I have, the relationship I'm in, my dog that I have, the house that I have, or the apartment I have, where I live. I now live 5 minutes from the beach. Those are the wins. have I become this crazy successful actress and I get to do it full time and I'm living my dream life. No, but I am living a life that I dreamed of living when I was a teenager. If you told 15-year-old me that I have 2 dogs, I have an apartment by myself, and I'm walking distance from the beach, and I'm doing it all on my own, and I get to go to sets sometimes, and I have a full-time job, and I have 20 tattoos, and I, do XYZ, I have these friends, I have this, she would shit herself. She would also then be like, okay, in acting and modeling, I'm still doing it though. Is it to the capacity of what I thought I was doing it? No, but I think that's the thing in our 20s. We just look so much at, okay, did I achieve this huge dream that I had? No. Okay, then I'm a failure. You're missing all the fucking good things in between. This is what I manifested a year or 2 ago. 2 years ago, I was living with a man, working a job that I fucking hated and not doing what I loved at all. I had completely betrayed acting and modeling. I was giving up on myself, and I had fucking a bob haircut with red hair, and I was the ugliest fucking version of myself ever. To now this. I'm gonna go fucking walk to my appointment, walk to a coffee shop, walk to a beach, and I'm living the life that I'm authentic to me. But we get so caught up on the fact of, oh, I don't get to go and be on a cool set. I'm working on it. And that's what I mean. We have to give ourselves grace in the in-between. You know what I mean? And I think that's the big thing I'm still learning, because I beat myself up so much. Even now, I'm literally just realizing this as I say it to you guys out loud. I am so focused on the fact that I have not reached my big dreams that I had when I came out here, that I'm completely losing track of the fact that I've managed to be out here on my own, getting myself through it for 7 years. And it's just, we lose track of all these little things that aren't even that little. Those are huge things, because, oh, this one thing that we really wanted to happen. And we're still working on it. You're still on that journey. And also that one thing can shift. That's what we got to focus on in our 20s. Is genuinely where we are right now instead of focusing on where we aren't. And trust me, I do not fucking do that. I do not do that. I'm in therapy for that exact reason of I cannot be fucking present. And that's also why I love podcasting, because I get to sit down and reflect this shit. I guess out of anything for your 20s is just really focusing on being more present. If we're so focused on, oh, my body this, oh, my body that, oh, my hair this, oh, my... That's what I mean. You just get to this point where I don't fucking care. And I'm just fucking happy, and I'm content, and I'm, now with my fucking half my face getting paralyzed, are you kidding me? When my full face fucking works and I can beat down and feel sexy again, I'm gonna be, oh my god, I'm just so fucking grateful that my whole fucking face works. Compared to before this, I was, oh my god, my lips aren't big enough, my this isn't. It's just so funny how much we nitpick and we lose track of the big picture. That is something that I definitely learned in my 20s. I literally just learned that right now as I said it. But I guess what I want to end this on, which there's actually still so much more, but I've recorded this for an hour and 20 minutes, so I gotta fucking wrap it up. I also have acupuncture to walk to in a little bit. I wrote down things I would tell my younger self, which one we just addressed, that younger me would think I'm so fucking cool and be, you have a pit bull? You're cool. You live by the beach? That's fucking crazy. You live by the beach. I can walk to the beach. Are you kidding me? What? Younger me would think I'm so fucking cool. Am I in a weird phase right now where I don't know what the fuck I'm doing? Yeah. But that's the exciting part. I get to figure it out. I'm in a phase right now where, am I working? No. Have my face got paralyzed? Yes. But okay, I get to slow the fuck down. I've been in fight or flight since the moment I fucking came out of my mom's womb. And especially ever since I moved to LA. I'm seeing it as a fucking sign that I get to start 30 off on the right track. So I have in here directly speak to 20-year-old me. Why am I crying? Why am I crying? Again, I didn't pre-write out what I would say. I just wrote these prompts because I wanted to authentically speak to it, but I guess that also means I did not mentally prepare myself for them. Oh my god. See guys, I only get this with y'all. I am thinking back to who I was when I was 20, and I had hair that was down to my literal butt. All my real hair, and it was purple, and I had just finally gotten out of a really toxic relationship that I had gotten into when I was in high school, and I was working as a barista, which I ended up being there for 4 years. I was in college, and my parents were going through a divorce, and I was just so incredibly, like a newborn child. I don't know up from down. What? I didn't really have any friends from high school or anything. I went to a community college, so also wasn't making friends. I started this new job as a barista. I was just such a shell of myself. no confidence, no direction, just going through the motions, and just so sad and so alone. I did not have a best friend. All the friends that I ended up making back in Arizona were from this barista job. And I remember everyone just telling me that I just look a bitch. No one said I was a bitch. They know that I talked to you and you were very nice, but I had long purple hair and apparently just looked very mean. So I had no friends. And then that was the number one thing everyone would tell me at that job. They're like, oh my God, Van, when I first met you, I thought you were a bitch. And I was, oh my God, what did I say? What did I do? They're like, no, you just look one. And I was, oh, probably because I was miserable and wanting to die every day of my life. Sorry. And had no confidence to smile at people. So, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. Guys, I don't know if I can do this. If I had to directly, I'm looking at y'all as if you are 20-year-old me. Guys, I don't know how every episode I end up crying. Whoo, see, I haven't done this. I haven't sat down and reflected, which is why I wanted to do this episode. But if I were to talk to 20-year-old Van, oh my God, what would I say to her? You know, I haven't reached these big dreams, but I've reached so many of the small ones. So it's when I think about, oh, I want to talk to her. I want to tell her, you made it, you did it, you have a special, or, you know, you're in a series, or you made something that you're really, really proud of, or, you know, you're a very successful actress, or you're a successful model with a campaign out right now. I can't tell her that. Oh my God, you guys, this is hitting me. Holy fuck. I can't tell her that, which on one hand feels shitty. Fuck, you've been at this dream for your whole life, and I feel, if I'm being honest, the most behind I've been in it, and it feels kind of shitty to be, you would have to tell her that you haven't made anything that you're really proud of while being in LA and chasing your dreams. But I can tell her, or I would tell 20-year-old me, you did it. Your hard work paid off, in the sense of you got yourself to LA. You made friends. I had no friends when I was 20. Not literally not one friend. I would love to tell her that you become confident, you become comfortable in your own skin, you make friends, you have boyfriends you learn so much from and that lead you to what you're in now. You adopt a really sick dog. No, okay, that sounds bad. It sounds as if she was literally ill. And the most amazing dog. You adopt your soul dog. You, a couple years later, get another dog who is not your soul dog, but she's a dog. I would tell her that you fulfilled the dream of moving to LA and that you then eventually get to live next to the beach. You kidding? I was a girl that lived in the desert for 24 years of my life. That is crazy. I would also tell myself that you never once gave up. And I think that is the most admirable thing about you, is you've been getting no's the whole time, but that has not stopped you. And you've also been getting good praise, you know? People tell you that you're a good actress and to keep going, so you're not completely delusional, okay? And, you know, you did acting and this and that. You accomplished a lot, and you're not where you want to be, but you've accomplished a lot of the things that you could have never imagined doing, and you should be really proud. And you're going to be really proud. Oh my God, guys. See, I tell you, this podcast is all about being authentic, but holy shit. This is the kind of shit I need to be journaling about, but I was being honest when I haven't sat down and really reflected on my 20s. And I knew this was going to be the last moment that I was going to be alone. Well, that sounds crazy too. I'm a very sentimental person, if we haven't picked that the fuck up yet. But, you know, my cousin's gonna be with me tonight, and then my boyfriend and me and my cousin, we're all gonna go to San Diego for a little trip for my birthday. And then I turn 30. Damn, this really is the last moment I'm going to have in my 20s. And again, I'm gonna fucking randomly not be able to think about my 20s when I turn 30, but in the sense of to sit down and reflect, and that's why I want to record this podcast in this moment. So yeah, that is why it's hitting me a ton of breaks, because I also just have not sat down to think about this on my own. But anyways, I would definitely recommend doing that. Holy fuck. If you just genuinely sit down, whatever age you're at, and talk to the version of yourself from 10 years prior. Genuinely, I challenge you to do that, because holy fuck, that just rocked my world. We never sit down to think about that, or think about talking to teen you. Jesus fuck, I'm not gonna do that, but I give you that challenge, because holy shit, that just rocked my world. Anyways, I have 10 minutes before I have to go to my acupuncture appointment. Yeah, some little things that I wrote here was, you're not behind, which I want anyone at any age, whatever, whoever is listening to this to know that you are not behind in life. This is life. It is your life. There's no rule book. There's no time frame. You're not behind. Point blank, period. Okay. Don't make me say it again. It is okay to not be okay. I tell myself that all the time and try to actually believe it. It is okay to not be okay. Oh my God. This is a hard one that I really even now struggle with accepting, but you do not need to earn rest or love. Trust me when I say that. Clearly, even now, I'm out of work for a month and a half, doctor's fucking orders. And no, I can't just rest and do nothing. I have to be productive. I have to do my podcast. We're just so wired to not just give ourselves a break, or we have to earn it once we accomplish something. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to earn rest. You do not have to earn love. Those are things that you just deserve. And you have to give yourself. Anyways, I've recorded this podcast for an hour and a half. I still have so much more on this that I can do, but I think it's time to wrap it up. I think I'll do a whole episode on what I'm looking forward to in my 30s, but I think for the sense of my 20s, I will end this on things I'm leaving behind in my 20s, which I think I am leaving behind. Gonna try stress, taking every little thing so seriously, being so hard on myself, not giving myself grace. I'm leaving behind bad friendships or relationships, leaving behind the people that disappoint me. I feel I'm gonna be really fucking cutthroat in my 30s if I'm not already. And I'm just gonna leave behind any form of doubt in myself or any kind of negative talk. That's a big one. I really want to leave behind negative talk. Negative anything. Negative energy is just being left in my 20s. And any type of bad thoughts, we're gonna leave that behind. Not being present, we're gonna leave that behind. We're gonna leave behind a lot of shit, a lot of bad shit. And we're gonna leave behind the fact that I think that everything bad is gonna happen to me, because I think I just fucking manifested everything that went wrong in my 20s, because I just always thought that's what I deserve, and that I didn't deserve good things to happen. So we're gonna leave a lot of that behind. Probably a lot more that I can't even think of, because I just rocked my own fucking world talking to 20-year-old me. Anyways, thank you guys for going on that journey with me. Thank you for being a part of my 20s. I started this podcast over a year ago. I've been podcasting since 2016, so podcasting has been a big part of my 20s. I, started my first podcast when I lived in Arizona. Started another one with one of my old best friends, and now did this one solo. Yeah, podcasting and expressing myself has always been something that I love doing. I think because I've always felt so alone in my 20s. I would just love to make at least one person not feel alone. So that is the point of this specific episode, but this podcast overall. You guys, thank you for joining that crazy journey. I'm sorry it was so long, trying to fit a decade of stuff within one episode. And like I said, I think even from these notes that I took, I'm gonna make, little one-off episodes. But if you're going through your 20s, buckle up. It's a beautiful, crazy, ugly, disgusting, amazing ride that no one warns you for. There's no right way to do it, but that's just some of my little inklings on how I've gotten through it, or what I've done, or what it's different for everyone, but it's also crazy for everyone. And there's some things that are pretty significant for, I feel it's a universal experience, some of these things in our 20s. So thank you for listening. Next time I see you guys, I will be 30, flirty, and fun. There are a good amount of pre-recorded episodes, so I don't know, maybe I won't be. Yeah, thank you guys for joining. You're not alone. Make sure you subscribe, keep up to date. You can find me on YouTube and Spotify. Maybe when I'm 30, I'll get this on Apple Podcasts. I don't know, guys. It's just me doing it all myself. You can find me on TikTok. It is what it is. You can find me on Instagram under the same tag. You can find my personal page at Savannah Mades. I'm there somewhere on YouTube. Also, Savannah Mades. I should pop up. All these episodes are also on there. Anyways, guys, let's fucking see what 30 has in store. It's gonna be a good one. It has to be. Are you kidding me? Did you not just hear what happened in my 20s? It's gotta be. Alright, bye guys. From your Virgo girl. I don't know how to end this. I feel awkward. I feel drained. That was a lot. I'm gonna go get acupuncture. Okay, bye guys.